Hey people, so this is part 2 of my video on hard work versus talent and why I think it's not either or, but maybe a mixture of both. It's hard to say. The last time I was talking about that there's other reasons why you do something other than to make a career out of something, right? Not everybody the example I used was boxing because, not everybody goes into a boxing gym wanting to be a professional boxer. Maybe they just like good exercise. They like the sport. They like learning about the sport. They like doing it, right? That's a valid enough reason, and that's what I concluded on in that last video. This video, and really the impetus for why I'm making this videos, is why people defend the use of generative AI. Because I've heard that they weren't born with this talent that artists have, and thus AI allows them to be creative. And to me, I think that's an even worse argument because there is no human endeavor that is precluded from you. Right? There's nothing stopping you from picking up a pencil. There's nothing stopping you from just starting to sing. There's nothing stopping you from picking up an instrument and learning how to play. Right? And I think people get lost in this idea of hard work versus talent and are told one thing or the other because they've seen the extremes of both ends of the spectrum here. Of, oh, I only got there because of my hard work and dedication, or I only got there because I was just naturally good at it and kept doing it. What I think is it's probably both can be true at the same time here. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive. Some people are born with a natural knack for something. And now here's the rub. I noticed this debate tends to stop when you start discussing other endeavors that apparently don't require a natural knack or require cultivating a skill. And people might be confused when I say that, but how come you never see this stuff raised up in, say, like wanting to be an auto mechanic? Wanting to be a plumber, wanting to be an electrician, right? Do those suddenly not require cultivating a skill or having a natural knack for those things? All of a sudden the debate stops, doesn't it? Why is it only sports, the arts, writing, or music where you see this whole thing of talent versus hard work? Does being an auto mechanic require a little bit of, liking working on cars and also cultivating a useful skill? I never see this brought up. And that's how every human endeavor is, because everything people can do, there's always a higher level of, knowledge and experience, right? And I rather like the Chinese idea called Gong Fu. Now, we've heard of Gong Fu applied only to martial arts, but really the term Gong Fu actually is talking about skills learned through experience. Confucius actually taught that there are 3 ways to gain knowledge. The first way, which he defined as the easiest, was learning by imitation. In other words, you see somebody doing something that interests you, you try and copy what they're doing. He calls it the easiest because you, in essence, are like an apprentice or you're learning from a teacher, and they're just kind of helping to guide you, right? So that's one way. He calls it the easiest. The second way he says that we gain knowledge is through experience, which is the harshest. And any person on the face of the planet that has lived for any length of time can tell you that life is a hard teacher. But in the process of living, you learn things. Right? You gain practical knowledge in things. And then the final way that he said, which is the noblest way, is introspection, thinking about things. Right? So that's how to gain knowledge. And I think that's the kind of things that define what Kung Fu is all about. There's nothing that a master carpenter can tell his apprentice to drive a nail in with one stroke. The apprentice is just going to have to use a hammer and drive in many nails in order to cultivate the skill of driving a nail through one stroke. You see what I'm getting at? So everything people can do is a skill, and everything that people can do, they've learned through three ways. Through imitation, because they liked the subject and they had somebody that was kind of helping to guide them. They've learned through just raw experience, right? Just doing stuff, and they've learned things, right? And then they've thought about things. And those are the three ways, I think, to gain knowledge. And this applies to anything that you can do, including sports, music, the arts, and writing. The number one advice that anybody in those specifically four endeavors will tell you how to get better at them is to simply do them, right? When somebody asks me how to get better at guitar, I tell them, well, pick up the guitar and play it more. There's really no shortcut for that. In order to be a good guitar player, you're just going to have to practice guitar and play guitar a lot, right? And that's how it should be. That's how we people gain knowledge. And the reason why I'm tying this into AI is because I feel AI robs you of just the journey. It kind of sidesteps the whole reason why we creative people do creative stuff in the first place. One, it's because we just love to do it, right? That's why we do it. We can't help ourselves. But the other thing is that we're expressing ourselves in whatever we create. And that's what makes art art. It's a demonstration of someone's humanity in that moment in time in which it was created. And when you remove art from that, it starts to lose its value. So, to everybody here, what I suggest, if you want to do music, if you want to do anything, take some tips from Confucius. Get a teacher to help guide you to learn the basics of the thing. Think about the thing, right? Actually learn about it, think about it, ponder on it a little bit, right? But the biggest thing to help teach you that is just fucking do it. There's nothing stopping you. So, there's my 2 cents on it all.